organizing. And organizing to me is the gateway drug to activism. And Rand has given his full commitment to that as he works tirelessly to bring people into the movement, bring people into local activism, bring people into being elected local officials and what have you. And I want to say that after OCIW, I went on to Farm Aid, and Rand always showed up at Farm Aid. Every year he showed up and helped in any number of ways. He'd swoop in and write press releases before we had a press operation, and just completely knew what to do, as he does anywhere. You could helicopter Rand into any area and he will figure out exactly what the best way to organize and create activism. And Rand, to me, there's nothing better that you can say about anybody. And you're always there. You showed up in the very beginning, in the early days of this OCIW organizing project, and you show up today. And there's nobody better at turnout than Rand. If you want turnout for an event, you got Rand and you got turnout. So anyway, Rand, it has been and is a deep pleasure. And I look forward to doing all kinds of stuff in the future too, for sure. Thanks so much.
Okay. Thank you, Carolyn.
You're welcome.
So before we go back to Brenda, and we're going to hear a lot about Local 888, and when you hear me read the list of all the things Rand has done, you'll be amazed that he spent 10 years, the last 10 years at Local 888, because this list, Rand, is quite long that I've made up, and I'm sure my brother Steve Early, who's on here, probably knows of things that I'm going to leave out. I should have gone over this list with him, but I didn't. And I actually met Rand through Steve when Steve was living in Arlington and Rand in Somerville more than 35 years ago. And at that time, well, most of my life, I've been an activist in the CWA, including being organizing director and 10 years as president of the union. And but my own friendship with Rand and love for Rand is broader than that kind of union work. And the same is definitely true for Steve. For both of us, Rand is a movement builder and a movement brother, probably more than anyone I ever met. So I'm going to read this list because I don't want to use up our minutes either. Again, this is not an exaggeration. If anything, I've left things out. So in the CWA world, he helped us build a huge union in New Jersey, which is where I come from, as did Steve. AT&T organizing in Massachusetts and elsewhere. State of Missouri, state workers. These are all groups that are still alive and thriving today. All kinds of Verizon organizing. And then I had the pleasure, excitement of working with Rand on Labor for Bernie, that along with others, we co-led, and that is in both Bernie campaigns. He's a key organizer in our revolution. This is these last things are while he was at 888. Brenda, you could talk about how he can do multiple things at the same time, but he is amazing at that. And it's particularly in Somerville, our revolution, a key leader. And then the huge telephone workers strike in 1989 that was about healthcare for all, not healthcare cuts at 9X. He played an amazing role in the mobilization with IBW and CWA. He then founded the Massachusetts chapter of Jobs with Justice, which again is another bond that he and I had for more than 30 years. Then he worked for the Teamsters, and in 1997, he helped lead the amazing campaign and wrote a book about it on the UPS strike by 185,000 workers for 15 days. I already mentioned Labor for Bernie in both 2016 and 2020. And this list is actually longer, but it's amazing, Rand, what you've done and who you've touched. And in every single one of these campaigns, you've made a gigantic difference, as much as any single person can make. And more than that, is your modesty. I got to say that I saw Mark Dudzik in here who recently left his position, but similar to Mark, it's like you never, ever think about yourself to a fault, I might say at times. It's always about the movement. It's always about doing what's right. It's never with a watch on. You're always there for all of us, whenever we need you, no matter where you're working at the time. And you do it with such excellence, as we just heard from Carolyn. Your skill set baffles me. And again, we're going to hear from 888 people, the range of things you did there. But after Brenda and 888 speak, because a lot of this is about memorializing and carrying on that work, well, I'll come back on and we'll hear from a bunch of people who know Rand in all these other many ways. So with that, Brenda, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Larry. You know, I was just scrolling through and looking at all the different faces, and it's just been an amazing journey for me. So I go way back. Rand and I served through 3 administrations at Local 888, but prior to that, Rand was working at SEIU 285, and I was on the executive board there. So we go way back. I know, Anita, you were with us. And so, you know, I can distinctly remember, you know, I was always a union member, but I never really appreciated what a union was until, so I was a municipal worker. And when I would sit at these 285 executive board meetings, you know what, I would hear people saying something, and then all of a sudden this healthcare worker said, wow, you know, we don't get sick days, we don't get medical insurance. And I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me? Like, I know I'm a municipal worker, I know I don't make $1 million, but I do know that I get great vacation, I get, you know, my sick time, I get tuition reimbursement. And so then I thought, wow, this is just an amazing movement here. And I got to say, Rand was one of those people who was always pounding, you know, away at trying to organize and bring forward what, you know, the importance of being in a union was all about. So, you know, and then then we worked together at 888, and there I was on as an officer in 2012. And Rand came on, stayed on staff with us, and was a communications director, was an organizing director. He had so many different roles. And then in 2018, when I challenged the incumbent president, I won the election, and then Rand was brought on as my chief of staff. So for him and I, it was like a very challenging moment. We've always been on the backside of labor, and for us to run an organization and you know, try to make sure that we lead with what we preach. So there were times when we had some challenging moments, but I got to tell you, I've always admired Rand, and you know, I was never afraid to take on a challenge because he always had my back. And he's just an amazing person to work with. And with that, you know, I see Rand, all the challenges that we came for in just from 2018 to 2021, right? So when we won the election, it was the same week that the Janus decision came down. And for us, it was like, oh my goodness, we're going to lose half the union. But you know what? We didn't. Rand kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and developing plans, and making sure that the staff was all, you know, all on the same page, and that the leadership, the members were all on the same page. And to tell you the truth, it was not an easy task, but we carried forward. And then right after the Janus decision, the International and NAGE, another SEIU Local, tried to take over 888. So, you know, with that, Rand said, Brenda, what are we going to do? So with his great skill at writing and facilitating conversations with the IU, we overcame, right? We won again. And then it was just, it was crazy. And then in 2020, we were hit with the pandemic. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, this is 3 years of pure torture. and you know what? We kept going. We stabilized the union. We brought local 888 into places where it's never been before. And you know, we had a past, 888 had a past of its staff not staying for long periods of time. And we, you know, Rand and I were able to take that as a challenge and bring all these great and exciting things to 888. And with that, we had, you know, we worked and communicated well with our staff, our executive board, and then our member leaders. So Rand, as an organizer, was just an amazing guy to work with. He's a true leader. He's always gone the extra mile. He's helped and supported me in all ways, and every employee and every member, he was always there for them. Rand, you are a true union leader and a fighter in so many ways, and not just the fight. You're out there mentoring so many people. You mentor, you lead, and you succeed. You are a valuable union leader and an organizer who never, ever gives up. And you're right, he shows up all the time. You taught me so much, and from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. And thank you from all the union people. And I'm looking across and I'm looking at all these people, Mark, Wayne, they're all, you know, people that I didn't know, but you brought me into their world, and it's just been an amazing journey. So thank you. And so with that, when Rand was on my chief of staff and he was doing all these things, one of our internal organizers had to go out on a leave of absence. And guess what? Rand jumped in and helped negotiate a contract and do some amazing organizing with Kate Silfen from the Boston University Librarians chapter. And Kate, I believe you're here tonight. Okay, so I'd like to introduce you and have you say a few words about Rand.
I met Rand in the spring of 2019. We were just about to get started negotiating our contract for the Librarians Union at Boston University. And I volunteered to be on the negotiating team very, very reluctantly. I really wasn't comfortable stepping out of my quiet librarian role at all. And early on, I told Rand, this just was not comfortable for me. I just am not used to being assertive or arguing or fighting. And he said, I know that. I think we all understand that. But when I get to watch people transform, I am transformed. And that's when I knew that for Rand, this wasn't just a job. This was his whole heart was in this. And we saw it from the way he stayed and fought with us for 10 long months as we finally got to sign a contract, as he fought for individuals within our union who needed a higher pay and successfully got that from them. Whenever I emailed him or called him about anything, I'd usually hear back from him within about an hour. And I wondered, maybe Rand doesn't get any sleep. That's how he does it all, because I can't imagine how else he would do all this. It was really extraordinary. And around this same time this was happening, I was watching The Crown on Netflix. And I saw a quote that was attributed to Winston Churchill, who had said, "Be kind, but be fierce. You are needed now more than ever." And I did not think, well, that's not possible. You can't be kind and fierce at the same time. But having watched Rand for 10 months deal with some of the most challenging people you can imagine, stay calm, kind, yet tough and insistent, it is indeed possible to be kind but be fierce. And Rand, I am transformed. And I think I can speak for all of my colleagues at BU. We love you and we'll watch what you're doing next.
Wow. Thank you, Kate. It's beautiful. Brenda, you're muted.
I still haven't lost my middle name. Brenda, unmute yourself. Kate, thank you. I remember going out to BU and you were being so good at being a leader there, and thank you for that. And Rand is just amazing being able to make you fierce. Yes. And with that, I'd like to introduce Anita Christian, and Anita has served as the recording secretary through, I don't even know how many administrations, but Anita, you've been amazing. And so I'm sure you'd like to say a few words to Rand.
Thank you, Brenda. Good evening, everybody. I hope all of you can hear me. Rand always says that people cannot hear me, so I hope you all can hear me. But I met Rand actually when I was with Local 285, and we were brand new union members. And Celia Wislow was the president, and Frank Borges was the secretary treasurer. And Rand was always there. But Rand, I have a few words that I have prepared for you today, and I hope you like them. So I'm going to begin. Rand, I look at you as the first mate. We have worked together over the years for a very long time. And I see you as the person who gets the day-to-day job done. Whether you are organizing rallies for us to attend, working on plans for the local to move forward, building bridges with political organizations, taking photos, and you all know Rand will come up to you with that camera in his face at any given time. You will have a mouthful of food and there will be Rand. Whether contributing to the spark for putting together our local convention and all of the events that go with that, you are the first mate. You are that behind the scenes person who does the job and does it with a smile. And in all the years that I have known you, I have seen you only really grumble a very, very few times. You never rested until what you set out to do was done. So tonight it is bittersweet as I say farewell to a long SEIU Local 285 and 888 history with you. You will be missed for your wisdom, your strength, your kind words, and heart. So that being said, I would like to leave you with this thought. My farewell wish for you is that you stay as you are, that you get what you desire, that you stay happy all the way, and that your destination brings you higher. Wishing you a fond farewell. Thank you for all your support over the years, and thank you for withstanding the true test of times that this local has endured. God bless you and keep you, and until we meet again.
I'm sure it'll be soon, Anita. You'll never get rid of me.
Good, I'm glad. Glad to know I won't.
Thank you, Anita. Those are sweet words and also true.
Thank you, Anita.
Also serving on the executive board was Emmanuel Marsh from the Massachusetts State Lottery chapter. He wanted to share something with Rand. So Emmanuel, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I've never stepped in front of a microphone that I was afraid of before. So as you guys know. So when I first met Rand in 2018, I remember it was right after we had gotten elected onto the executive board. And I remember talking with Rand, and Rand said to me, Rand said he had just gotten the chief of staff position. And he said, he goes, we're going to run this place. We're going to be pretty militant. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And I remember thinking to myself, and I always size everybody up every time they always say things to me. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, all right, hotshot, let's see what you got. Let's see if you really can put your money where your mouth is. And sure enough, yeah, with working with Rand and seeing everything that he has done and what everybody has said before, it's Rand was the real deal. And I quickly came to realize that, as it was mentioned earlier before, that, you wonder when Rand had time to fall asleep because he was doing a million other things at the same time. And I thought I was an Energizer buddy, but I quickly realized that Rand was more energetic than I am. And I just admired that about him. I admired his passion for the labor movement. I admired his passion and the dedication to the members of 888, and especially with the strategic plan that he loved talking about. But of course, that was probably one of our most memorable and best attributes, and something that obviously kept the members at heart and very transparent. And that's why I liked and I appreciated about that. When talking with Rand and when he told me that he was going to retire, I then obviously, after meeting Rand and working with Rand, realized that I felt like that was a lot of lip service. And I still think that's a lot of lip service that Rand is retiring. I have a feeling that you're going to pop up somewhere by next week. And I'm going to be like, wow, really? Like, I thought this was a farewell party for you. I thought that we were just going to celebrate you running off into the sunset. But I have a feeling that, you will be showing up, and I have a feeling that we'll all be working together. And I know that no matter where you go, Rand, you'll be a true asset. You were an asset to all of us on the executive board, especially to me too. And I knew that anytime you said something, I never questioned it after, because I knew that your passion and your commitment to the people and to the labor movement here in Massachusetts and to all of us is genuine. And I know that, I felt safe, and I think I can speak for a lot of other people that said they could feel safe every time you talk, that we knew that, that was the real deal. And so I just want to say thank you for that. And thank you for being that guiding light. And thank you for, thank you for all you did. And lastly, I actually want to say too, is even when running for president, and every time I would send something over to you to edit, and I'd be like, I think this is the perfect edit. I think I got it down. And I thought I had a way with words. And then all of a sudden Rand would pick up like 10 other things that I just was, and I was like, you kidding me? Like, all right, is this the perfect draft right now? And it just felt like it was, but I loved it. And I respected it, and obviously it was much needed. And so Rand, thank you for everything. And please continue to keep doing that no matter where you go. And I know you will. So thank you.
Thanks, Emmanuel. So one of the things that, Rand has always done is emphasize getting more members involved in the union. So our 12 contracts with the city of Boston was a good opportunity, and Rand has worked with some of the great leaders there. I was looking to see if Leah Earl was on, and I'm sorry, I don't see her. So I think
Nope.
what I'll do is she on?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right. So I think what I'd like to do is pass this over to DJ.
I'm here.
There you go. Okay, DJ.
How's everybody doing? My internet is a little iffy, so bear with me. So yeah, I met Rand back in 2003-ish. I got fired from my warehouse job at Shaw's Supermarkets, was working for the union that I was a member of as an organizer, new to organizing, didn't know much, but I started volunteering with Mass Jobs with Justice, and I met Rand through that. But the first job that we worked together at was, I was hired by Jobs with Justice after getting fired from the union. Not the first union job I've been fired from, not the second either, by the way. We don't need to get into that. But I like right after losing my job with the United Food and Commercial Workers, I got approached by Russ Davis from Jobs with Justice, asking if I'd be interested in working on an organizing project that was funded through SIF money from the CWA, and working with the union CWA and IBEW. And Rand at the same time got a job working for the AFL-CIO, working on the same campaign. And I'd already known Rand. I was in charge of the organizing work, and Rand was in charge of the communications. And we just we worked pretty well together. We had our moments. We've always had our moments, but it was an interesting campaign. I remember going up to Vermont for a Vermont Workers Center educational, and we had a little powwow with Larry Cohen over the Verizon Business Organizing, which and we won that. It was an amazing campaign. Also worked on the Stop the Sale campaign. Verizon sold its properties in Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont to a little tiny company out of North Carolina called Fairpoint, which we predicted would would file for bankruptcy not long after the sale. Once it went through, and it did. And it's not called Fairpoint anymore. It's called Consolidated or something now. But and it's also where I met Bernie Sanders up in Vermont during this whole time period. And you know, when I ended up getting a job with the IBEW after that, and when that ended, I saw that 888 was hiring an organizer, and at the time, Rudy Reno was the organizing director, who I didn't know. I never met Rudy. It's funny, Rudy was from Lowell. I'm from Methuen, spent a lot of time in Lowell, and she was like a couple of years older than me. Never knew her in the labor movement. We knew a lot of the same people. I called Rand and said, hey, I see this job posting on unionjobs.com. What do you think? He says, don't even bother applying for it. Rudy already knows who she wants to hire. You'll never get it. I'm like, don't even apply for it. I'm like, all right. And then a week later, Rand said, no, apply for it. I don't think you get it, but apply for it. So I did. I applied for it. And then I got a call back from Rudy saying you're hired. And it was 8 years ago. It was in 2013, right after the marathon bombing. And Rand and I have had a lot of adventures together. I can go on and on and on about all the stuff that we've done. But you know, this wasn't 888 wasn't our first time working together, and it won't be our last time working together, I'm sure. Because you know, Rand, you've become like one of my best friends. We've had our moments, especially when you were my boss. You weren't my boss before when Child of Justice, but you were my boss towards the latter end of 888. But I think we did good. We did a lot of good things, and I'm proud of all the work that we did. Commiserating on organizing, I get stuck against the wall on something. You know, Paul Rand, we figure, we come up with some weird thing to move things forward, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, but you got to try everything. Yeah, it's a good time. I see a lot of people on here tonight. Thank you everybody for coming. A lot of people who I haven't seen in a long time through previous work, and I guess I'll leave it at that. We will work together again in the future. That's for absolute sure. Whether it's Somerville stuff, Somerville related stuff, in the labor movement, who knows? I don't know where my next move is going to be, but I'm going to enjoy my summer, and we'll figure it out. But thank you for putting this together. Thanks, Brenda. Thanks, Larry. Good to see you. It's been a long time.
Thanks, DJ. So I'm looking through the list, and we're already at the half-hour mark, so I don't want to go too much over that, but I'm looking and I see lots of 888 members. I see a lot of 888 executive board members and past members, and I see some 888 staff and a lot of past staff. So, I really appreciate you all spending this time with us tonight. I was going to open it up for more conversation, but I see people have really been writing some beautiful things in the chat. So if you have time, please look at those. And now I'm going to turn this back over to Larry to introduce a few folks that Rand's worked with either in the labor movement or in politics. So Larry, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Brenda, and great to hear the 888 stories, Rand's last 10 years, and where you all made together. And lots of 888 people are on here, that didn't speak. And I know enough about how you all collaborated together and what you're continuing to build, all of you who are there now. Again, I am going to speed this up a bit and ask, we have a bunch of people here who are going to talk about Rand's other work. It could be political work. It could be issue campaigns that he helped run outside of 888 or before. It could be organizing work, in this case, movement organizing work as well. And I'm going to start off with Enid Eckstein. And I've known Enid a long time, and she's known Rand even longer. So Enid, take it away for a couple minutes.
Thank you, Larry. So I don't think there's anything in Boston that Rand didn't have his hands into, which is a great thing, whether it was Medicare for all, Jobs with Justice, messing around with the Labor Guild, mentoring younger people, etc. But I really wanted to kind of talk about Rand, the holistic Rand, because when I think about Rand, I think about I looked at your Facebook page and I was reminded in all the positions you had and all the unions you worked for. And I thought like you had many positions in the labor movement, but you only had one job. And to me, this is really important. The job you had was really organizing people to fight for workers, to take on corporate greed, and to help workers build organization. And that is something that you really need to be incredibly proud about, because whether you work for CWA, IBEW, the Teamsters, I didn't realize you worked for the teachers. I missed that one. I knew SEIU for many years. But you know, that regardless, you were building power and you were, you know, teaching people how to take on corporate greed. And I think that's really important, and that you never walked away from a challenge. And today, you know, when you leaving SEIU and thinking about your next challenge, whether it's looking at gig workers or taking on a small but struggling US corporation called Amazon, I mean, like you like big challenges. You are not one to like shy away from a challenge. So I think that's really an important piece of who you are. Like, and I said at your 40th birthday party, I don't know if you remember, I got up and gave a talk at Rand's party and I called him incorrigible. And Rand kept saying, what does that mean? What is incorrigible? And what I remember, and I went back and looked it up, is it's something who's incurable, who's unreformable. And I feel like that's the highest compliment I can give you, that you are just somebody who's not going to take no for an answer, and that wherever you are, you're going to be fighting. I could see you at 90 years old in a nursing home arguing and trying to organize the workers. And I, you know, just feel like that's a lot of who you are. And so there are many things that I feel like Rand did in Boston that we can talk about, whether it was in Lawrence when we were trying to organize in the community, a group called Laser around trying to empower people in Lawrence to have power over the corporations, or a lot of the work you did on Medicare for All, or, you know, totally within SEIU in terms of building support for Bernie, or even in SEIU trying to, you know, build a strong union there, whether it was at SEIU 285 when you were trying to organize hospital workers and taking on the Boston teaching hospitals, which has been a passion of mine for many years. I feel like all those things were really important. And I did want to say one thing about 888, which I can say as somebody who is part of SEIU and from the perspective of not being in 888, you created a spark there. And I, you know, kind of, that was your paper, but it was a spark for trying to really bring the union together and having a vision of a union that, as Brenda knows, was many, many different smaller units. And you tried to create an identity, a brand, and a common vision for the union. And that's what we try to do. And that's really important. And the only two other things I want to say about you is, yes, you're the Energizer Bunny, but part of being an Energizer buddy too, is that you really need to create a spark for other people. So I can think of all these people that you've mentored, all these people you brought around the union movement, and you actually, you know, really gave them things to read and you made them think about that. And then at the same time, you have this amazing ability to have a big picture view of the labor movement. You know, I'm always amazed, like, oh, I know you're working on this campaign, and then I pick up Jacobin or I pick up some other publication, and there you have some treatise about what the labor movement needs to do. So Energizer Buddy, who operates on many levels at the same time, like how many numbers, what are we doing about Janice? Do we have the cards out? And then at the same time, you're thinking big picture, and that is an incredible set of skills. So I just want to say for you on the next stage of your life, I feel lucky that I'm a friend of yours. I feel lucky that I get to share drinks and food and hanging out. But I also feel like over the years, you've really challenged my thinking, and I hope to work together with other projects going forward. And I wish you luck. And I feel like, you know, we all have made our movements around the labor movement as we've, you know, grown older and looking back. But I feel like you should have nothing but pride in the work you've done and how you've helped advance the workers' movement. Thank you.
Oh,
That was great, Enid, in so many ways. But just one thing, please don't wish Rand into a nursing home at 90.
Sorry.
Otherwise, that was perfect.
Well, I just thought he would be organizing it. He wouldn't be sitting there. He'd be like getting the
No,
CNAs
that's all right.
together.
All right.
It's gonna be the
That's
least
my
liked
last-
resident
He'd
of the
be
nursing home.
salting. He'd be salting.
I want to move on here. We're running behind. I know everybody, I'm glad they're all muted. Antonio, keep them muted. Now we're going to go, I mentioned electoral work where Rand, particularly in Somerville, has done amazing electoral work, always for somebody else running for office. So I want to call on Matt McLaughlin. Matt, tell us about Rand's work in Somerville and your connection.
Hey everyone, this is Matt McLaughlin, Ward 1 City Council and City Council President, and most important friend of Rand, who I owe not only my friendship, but a lot of my political work too. I just want to come and wish fond farewell, but not going anywhere, to the grandfather of the Somerville political revolution. It really is just crazy to think, Rand, how many years ago was it? It had to be 2008. And where we're at now compared to then. I met Rand a while back. He was friends with my Uncle Fuzzy, who some of you may know, and it's also good to see so many professional troublemakers in the room. Good to see all of you. But I knew Rand as just a friend of my uncle's, and we'd go hang out skiing or bowling or something. And Rand moved to Somerville, and he said, "Hey Matt, like we should do a local jobs campaign for on-site for construction workers." And I just got back from the military and I was already involved in the community. I said, sure, that sounds like something to do. Why not? And I had no idea that it was going to evolve into what it has, which is really the beginning with the Max Pack factory. That's kind of where a lot of this all started. And, he just came so prepared. I had experience in campaigning and community organizing, but not the real efficiency of a union campaign. And I just remember sitting at the Rosebud Cafe where you brought all the unions together and said, I want you all to sign this document saying that we're going to stick together and we're going to fight for this. And I remember a few people being like, oh, this guy's really being kind of forceful here. Like, I'm not sure I want to sign this. And I'm like, yeah, this guy came prepared. I'm ready to sign this. Like, I'm grateful that he was prepared and ready to do the work and made everyone's life easier. Like, the amount of work you do makes it easier to just follow you and be like, Rand's got this. I'm going to follow Rand till the end of time. And that was, a very difficult campaign, but it was really just the beginning of everything. And we fought hard for local jobs, for affordable housing, for union hire. And then when the time came in 2014, when a seat opened up on the city council, I decided to run. And I was working part-time as a bouncer at a bar and really just graduated from college. Did not have the money to even consider running for office. First time worked campaigns, but didn't really run myself. And it was really Rand and 888 that was so instrumental in me speaking that office and not only winning, but just being able to get through a week. With the support of Rand and 888 and coming by their office, which is right in my neighborhood, and just getting all the support I needed. Rand, your mentorship, just motivating, just being positive and giving me guidance was so instrumental. You literally fed me. There were times when it was hard getting through the week without finding a meal and campaigning and working for scraps. I could not have done it without you, Rand. That is just the bottom truth. Literally could not have done this without you. And it all paid off eventually because we had a great moment where we won that preliminary race. And I compare that to the Red Sox beating the Yankees in the ALCS. The actual election meant nothing compared to that day. And Rand told everybody that day at the victory party when everyone thought we were going to lose, Rand. Remember that. No one thought we were going to win. And everyone was like, oh, Matt's going to lose. He's going to be a distant third. And he came in a distant first. And Rand said to everybody in the room, if Matt places first, drinks are on me. And we'll always remember the chant. We'll always remember the chant, drinks on Rand. And I know Rand, people were just chanting, drinks on Rand, drinks on Rand. And he's told me that that's one of the greatest moments in his life. It was one of the greatest moments in my life. And it was still like a major highlight in my life and a turning point in the city because I was kind of the first of the young progressives, the young union organizer progressives, labor progressives to get into office. And 4 years later, you can't win without being progressive and without having a background in labor and affordable housing and all the issues that he wanted to ignore. There's no way we'd be here today. Myself, I led the way, and you were the one who led me. And now we have a whole new generation of people ready to take up the mantle and keep fighting. So I could keep going on forever, but the one thing I just want to say, the thing I admire about Rand, and I admire about a lot of people of your generation of labor organizers, is you're what I describe as.
I don't know why it's called that, but
Sounds like a good time to stop it.
Tony, I'll mute everybody.
Yeah, I just want to say, Rand, like there's several people like you in this regards, and they're usually people with a lot of experience who have kept fighting. That you're what I call a happy warrior. You're somebody that you see the system for the corrupt, broken system it is, yet you never seem to get down. You never are angry. I've never seen you angry to the level that I get angry. It really is like you just always know that there's the next fight. And even when you're leaving 888, I know it's like you're going to be 90 years old, fighting for organizing, doing things till the day you die. And then you're going to go to heaven and you're going to organize the angels to fight against God.
Matt, get back to your city council meeting.
We're going to move on.
I got to get to a city council meeting. It's true. Rand tells me what to do, which is why I'm here. Thank you so much, Rand. And I'm going to see you, and drinks will be on you again.
The drinks are on me.
Matt, the next time the drinks are on you. You're muted now, so you don't have the last word on this. And I heard about Rand Barbill, not Barbell, Barbill that night. And I think, Rand, we all owe it to you to buy you a drink. But, we're off the hook with this Zoom thing. So Penny Taylor, who's been a key leader of our revolution in Somerville, Somerville Wage Theft Ordinance, Somerville Working Center. Penny, take it away as fast as you can.
Great. Absolutely. I've been timing it. Thanks for having me, and happy to be here for Rand. I met Rand because we're both Bernie bros, and that message of politics for the 99% has been ringing in my ears for about 5 years, maybe because Rand has been yelling some version of it at most of the meetings I've been to since, thank goodness. Rand has a huge impact on workers and organizing in the city of Somerville. And me personally, I'm happy to share some words about that. So I grew up in a union household. My dad was IBEW member. He was headed out to the telephone worker strike when I waited for the school bus, but I didn't really connect the dots of the labor movement to my own political involvement until I met Rand. And I'm grateful for that and so much that I've learned: his enthusiasm, coalition building, and visions for connecting the dots, and his insistence that when we fight, we win. And here in Somerville, Rand has laid out the vision, passed the torch, and kept it burning under the auspices of Our Revolution Somerville, the ORS Labor Working Group, Somerville Stands Together, and labor unity meetings and rallies, just to name a few. I'm happy to see a lot of you here that I've met through that. Rand also keeps good company. Speaking of, ever notice he hangs out with a powerhouse of organizers. And in Somerville, in recent memory, these coalitions have fought and won campaigns, including the right to one's wages. We helped write and get Somerville to adopt the strongest wage theft ordinance in the state. And it created a novel advisory board approved by the city council rather than the mayor. Rand's insistence that Somerville is a labor city that needs a union hall led us to work in coalition with worker centers, immigrants' rights advocates, and more to create and fund the Somerville Worker Center with staff to lead Know Your Rights and wage theft info sessions. And we keep our eyes on City Hall with an organization with strong electoral focus. The political system is rigged, the economic system is broken, and what's the solution?
Our revolution.
Now I need to share a moment of respect for the old Somerville City Club building featured here, and thank Rand for getting me in the door there every time for candidate events and debate watch parties for Bernie. Some other places Rand's leadership and vote of confidence have taken me include working for the Carpenters, hanging out with a fat cat on the steps of City Hall, knowing my labor sisters and brothers supported the Union Square Neighborhood Council to win a community benefits agreement, not quite a PLA, but next time, to meeting some of my best friends like DJ. So let's get a group photo before we go. I did hear beers were on Rand, so we'll just have to follow up with that. And thanks so much, Rand.
Penny, thank you.
Okay, that was great. Thanks, Penny. And again, if everybody else can stick to that kind of 2 minutes or less, otherwise, you know what's going to happen at the end? Rand's going to say, we're way out of time. It's way past 8 o'clock, and he won't say anything at all. So I want to hear from Rand at the end. That's a warning, Rand. So again, please keep it to 2 minutes or less. Anika Van Eaton, also Somerville, and lots of great work there with Rand. Anika.
Annika.
Hi, everyone. Annika Van Eaton, and I have the privilege of serving with Rand on the board of the Jobs Creation and Retention Trust here in Somerville for the last couple of years, the Jobs Board. And this board and trust is the culmination of years of activism that Rand was also very involved in. It puts a fee on commercial development to support Somerville workers, and it's raised over $1.5 million for that. And Rand and I have served on this board, and I have been so appreciative, Rand, of your advocacy for Somerville residents, for Somerville workers. In every meeting, Rand talked about the wage theft ordinance and how it is our duty as a board to make sure that Somerville residents know about the wage theft ordinance and know about their rights. And I am just so thrilled and proud that we have brought some of this money to fund the new Somerville Workers Center and to fund those wage theft ordinance info sessions. And from advocating for the wage theft trainings to workers co-ops to local hire, Rand has been focused on workers and on Somerville residents. And I have so appreciated your questions, your comments. You're always bringing the board back to what we need to be focused on and what we need to be driving here within the city that we care so much about. And I've appreciated working with you. I appreciate your friendship. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the work you've done, and this has been a lot of fun. So thank you, Rand. And I look forward to working with you on more Somerville things in the future.
Thanks, Annika. Apologies on my Philly accent on your name. I'll blame it on that. I'm sure, as you just said, and Penny and Matt, you know, Rand and Danette are continuing to live there. He's going to raise even more hell in Somerville. I think that's guaranteed. Next, I'm going to call on Jared Hicks and then Russell Weiss Irwin for like a minute each. And Rand is really proud of his work with young organizers. Obviously, Rand and I are not young, and many others on this Zoom, but there's many on here who are young. And to speak about that, first Jared and then Russell.
Larry, I'll gladly yield my time to Russell. I left my comments in the chat. Rand knows how much I love him, and Russ will carry us both.
Well, all right, Jared. Jared, that's briefer than you need to be. If I created that mess, I apologize. Let me just say that almost everybody has written in the chat. It can tell that you're all organizers, because normally when I write that, you know, most people don't bother. But, you know, pretty cool that you've all written in there. All right, Russell, you could at least speak for the two of you. Maybe we'll get Jared to say a word after you.
Yeah, Jared kind of caught me by surprise on that one, but Jared is a great organizer in his own right. So I've known Rand since I was 17 years old, as I said in the chat. We went to the same barber, and I used to talk about union things. The barber said, "Oh, you should talk to this other guy who talks about union things." And Rand basically, he's been, you know, probably the most important mentor I've had in the labor movement since then. And it's been a little while. I'm older than 18 at this point, so. I think Rand has consistently been the person who I've turned to when I faced dilemmas or issues in my organizing. Since then I've been worked to organize multiple workplaces, and then I became a shop steward with an SEIU Local in New Jersey, and now I'm pretty active in the Boston Teachers Union, and I'm also in DSA. Along with Rand, and I co-chair the labor working group in Boston, DSA, and Rand has just consistently since 2009 right up until last night, I turned to Rand constantly for advice about organizing and what to do, and I'm so grateful for the work he's done in 888 and the way he supported me, and I can't wait to see what he gets up to next. Thanks, Rand.
Hey, perfect. I don't know about that barber thing though, but no jokes about it tonight. Jared, you sure you don't want to say something, Jared?
if I must, I'm in the car, but I'll say a few words for my brother Rand. Wow, we've been through a lot together, and only in a few short years, but I feel like a lot has happened. I met Rand through Bernie 2016. We were delegates together in Philadelphia. So I learned about his organizing skills on the floor of the convention center against the TPP, and then in congressional meetings with Capuano before we now have the better Ayanna Pressley. So many things. We took over the street, committed civil disobedience in downtown Boston. We shut down the financial district for the Poor People's Campaign, risked arrest. I think that was on your birthday, Rand. You were like, I want to go home and eat some cake. It was so fun. We've had so many meetings, our revolution, you name it. I don't want to repeat everything the folks have said. I just want to amplify and uplift and reiterate all that. But, Rand has always been supportive. He's always been a mentor. He's always believed in me. He's always pushed and challenged me in healthy ways, and grown me as an organizer and as a young person trying to find his way through the movement. And that sort of guiding hand has been really amazing and exceptional and special to me. The role that you've played, Rand, in my life and in my political formation and activism. So thank you so much. I'll buy you a drink at Red Bones. I think I owe you one. And you're one of the best to do it ever. So much love and respect. Many more fights to come, and I'll be with you all the way. Solidarity.
That was great, Jared. Thanks for speaking up. I hope you kept one hand on the wheel. And it's Rand's birthday next week, I believe, and you can buy him a couple of drinks. That'd be great. Next, I want to turn to the love of his life, Danette English, his life partner, who knows Rand better than any of us, but I think she's got a very sweet poem to read. Danette.
Okay, hello everyone. I am here to deliver a poem. This is a gift from Denise Provost, who is a former state rep here in Somerville and a neighbor and a lovely friend and comrade. We've met her on many occasions in the streets. Was part of the Red Bandana Brigade. I'm sure many of you know her. So this is a gift from her to you, Rand. And it's a poem, and it's called Our Man of the Hour. Ah, politics, so hard to understand. Somebody does. That would be Rand. And what if Martian warships were to land? Who would you call? I would call Rand. When you're organizing and need a hand, reach out and grab the hand of Rand. Should some gross injustice that you can't stand be plaguing you, time to Rand. Perhaps a grand parade of honk fest bands is forming up. Bandanas, Rand. Who has a Zoom room full of doting fans? Just look around. The man is Rand. Will he lie on the sand, work on a tan, retirement? What's next for Rand? So, that is from your friend Denise.
All right. Well done. I don't think you had enough rhymes in there, though. So maybe the next time, you can find even more words that rhyme with Rand or turn it. Anyway, I'll stop. Now, his two amazing children, Caleb and Marley. Caleb, we'll start with you.
Okay. Makes sense because my sister will probably outdo me.
Uh-oh.
I'm Rand. I'm Rand's favorite son, Caleb. And it's fantastic to be here this evening and to see and hear from so many wonderful people and celebrate such a great man. I've definitely heard a lot of you say that for most of your lives you've been organizing, and that years ago your paths crossed with my dad's, and that he had a profound effect on your lives, and for good reason, which is obviously testament by this evening's event. Well, I can confidently say that for all of my life, I've been organizing for the movement to a fault, and that there was never any other path, whether it was being used by my dad as a trade union piece of Boston Globe propaganda, tossing Miller Lite into the harbor, or as a toddler marching in circles around him with a picket sign insisting on a more favorable bedtime. Dad, it's 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours. I've always had the formidable tools and tricks of the trade because of him, whether I wanted them or not. In fact, a lot of people ask me how I got involved with the Sanders campaign for 2 cycles, or why my passion for universal health care and a fair minimum wage is so sincere. And I tell them, I never had a fucking chance. Earlier today, my sister accurately pointed out that Dad's agenda tonight seemed rather ambitious. That's Dad, I said. But no, in serious, the truth is, Dad is rather ambitious, and I am so grateful for it. I think there's one beautiful trait that all of us have inherited from him. It's that it's never enough, and that we need to keep going and keep improving, and it's community first at all costs. Dad's been a terrific teacher of mine for 33 years. And I think beyond organizing, he's very handy with a hammer and saw, which I'm sure most of you know. He's won more than a few sunfish races. In fact, he's recently purchased a sailboat because he has all this free time. And is pretty solid eating and drinking buddy, pretty good taste in beer, something I've carried forward. And I really think that the irony tonight is that we'll all have to do this all over again in a few years, because I think all of us know that no matter what he does next, it will be awesome and it will be huge. So Dad, I am very proud of you, and I love you very much.
Oh, thank you, Caleb.
Super. Marley.
I hate to go after the voice of God from all of Bernie's events. That was a lovely speech, Caleb. And it's wonderful to be here with all of you and some very familiar faces that I haven't seen for a long time. I would just like to say, I just feel like there hasn't been enough roasting tonight. Caleb, I think you threw in a little bit, but I mean, has anyone seen any of the photos that my dad takes at every rally? Like, this needs to come up a little bit more. No, seriously, obviously, my dad has had an immense influence on a lot of young people, including myself and my brother. He's had, a big impact on my politics, on my career, on my perspective and priorities. And I think definitely both of us got a little bit of that Energizer bunny bug, for better or worse. I was recalling, Jared, when you were talking about risking arrest earlier in the evening. I recalled that I wrote my college essay about how proud I was that both of my parents had been arrested for justice. And I think that got me rejected from a few colleges, but their loss. I'm immensely proud of my father, and so proud to know a boomer that I think has such fantastic politics and insight. I live in Chicago now, and just last week had a wonderful call with the executive director at the Jobs with Justice chapter in Chicago. And at the end of we're organizing, scheming on how public institutions can help workers organize. And at the end of the call, I had to throw in, by the way, my dad started the Massachusetts JWJ, and it was just that kind of thing happens all the time, where I get to mention how proud I am of my dad, and obviously how much of an influence he's had on my life. I'd say that I'd save the good stuff for his actual retirement, but we're not actually sure he'll ever retire. So I'm glad that we have this opportunity to speak tonight. I wish it was in person, but Zoom will do. And I'd like to just end with something that my godfather used to say, which is something that I think that my dad embodies to the core, which is the fun is in the fight. And we never stop having fun.
That's great.
Love you, Dad.
That's a great ending there. We never stop having fun. And before we go to Rand for the real ending tonight, I think that Shaylin Hogan, the Secretary Treasurer of 888, who I saw was on, might want to do a toast. So everybody tip their glasses. Shaylin, go ahead.
So I'm going to talk for a second so you can get your cups ready. I met Rand organizing Emerson College, and I have to say, I was not energetic at the time. And every time that I started to lose steam, Rand was there in my head saying, when we fight, we'll win. We'll win. We're going to win. So every time we felt like we were losing, Rand was there cheerleading us on and keeping us going. It's through Rand, I believe, that I was recommended to the e-board for SEIU 888. And when I was hesitant, Brenda assured me, don't worry, it's only a couple of hours every other month. And now I'm the Secretary Treasurer. Let me tell you, I was duped. But it was for good cause. So let's all raise our glasses to an unrelenting, passionate, constant ally to the good guys, a determined and tireless, somehow, leader to our friend. May your fights end in victory. May your adventures be plentiful, and may your joys always be ceaseless. To Rand.
Oh,
Rand.
yeah.
Cheers.
To Rand.
And I think it's
To
drinks
Rand.
on Rand. Is that what I heard? Drinks on Rand?
I wish I could buy the drinks for all of you. Thank you, Shaylin. That's so touching. And thank you to everybody tonight. I'm crying because it's kind of overwhelming. I am just really moved by everybody's comments, and I wish we could hear from everybody on this Zoom. I feel like, you know, the message really came through loud and clear tonight about what it takes to build a movement, and that it has to be a movement where we fight. It has to be a movement where we have fun. It has to be a movement where we love each other and where we share our experiences and build on those experiences, where we're not afraid to lose, but we're not afraid to win, and where we're prepared and preparing always for the next step, that we're strategic, and that we're looking ahead as we make the road while we walk, to coin a phrase. So, you know, specifically, this chapter with Local 888 is over. It ended abruptly, but it was going to end no matter what. And I'm so proud of the work that Brenda and the executive board and the chapter leaders and members that we've done together tonight. I saw so many of, you know, Anthony Meeks and Emmanuel and Kate and Anita, and just all the members that I've had to learn so much from. You know, we're just always learning from one another, and it's just been you know, a deeply meaningful experience for me to work for the members of the union and to be given that opportunity by Brenda and by others to help shape Local 888 and to make more of the, somebody talked about, I forget who, maybe Enid, about how we've worked to actually give 888 some definition, some presence in the labor movement, some identity that it didn't have. And, you know, I didn't do that. Brenda didn't do it. We did it together. And it was this teamwork. And I got to say about Brenda, we had at least 6 or 7 chapters where members were ready to bail. They were like, we're sick of this union. The dues aren't worth it. We're getting out. She was our secret weapon. Send Brenda in, and man, she could turn these groups around. Next thing you know, they were running for executive board or wanting to get involved and helping to lead the union rather than deserting it. Working with somebody like that, what a team. You know, we couldn't, you just, you know, and people would try to divide us or look for some you know, space where we might disagree with one another. Nobody could do it. And that unity that starts at the top, you know, it flowed throughout the e-board. We never had any dissension on the board, and occasional some bumps with the staff, as DJ and others may have pointed out. Always wasn't easy. I wasn't a great manager. It wasn't a role I was particularly comfortable in, but I learned a lot from the staff about you know, learning to both respect and honor the work that they did, and at the same time try to find new ways of doing things, because we can't just keep doing the same thing that we've been doing in the past when we're in a totally different open shop environment. And so we had to make some difficult decisions and some hard changes about the work that we do. And you know, I see Corey and others from the staff on the Zoom here tonight. And, you know, you guys all been terrific to work with. So, and then, so 888, you know, we're going to move on, although I will pledge this, which is Shaylin, behind you 100%, and behind everybody on the e-board, Anita and the rest of you that are there. The work continues, and I very much want to be a part of what we do going forward. I'm excited about this chapter, and I know that we can continue to make progress, keep the union together, and move along. And then to the rest of you, oh my God, you know, Larry and all my friends that came on, people that I've worked with for so many years, and people that I've just started working with, like Annika, you know, and just recently working together. That was very touching. About, you know, I'm so proud of this $1 million fund that we worked so hard in Somerville because of Matt McLaughlin, because of Jesse Klingon, because of DJ and all of our Somerville peeps. We worked so hard to, and Penny, we worked so hard to get that money from the developers, and now we're spending it. Now we sit and have power to spend $1 million a year, and we're spending it to help workers in Somerville improve their lives. That's so meaningful, which reminds me, this is a long game. You know, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And yeah, we planted the seeds, Annika, for that back when we were doing the local hire campaign, which was in 2004, I think, or 5. I can't remember. Mark Stern and a whole bunch of us in Somerville, SCC. I think I still have the poster here. This was oh, wait a minute. There we go.
Where are you?
There we go. What does it say? Put Somerville to work, pass local hire now. We lost this fight. We lost the campaign. We had signs, we campaigned, we fought for this, but we lost the fight. But out of that struggle came the idea that we needed a training fund so that Somerville workers could get better jobs. And then we tapped the developers for so many cents on square feet. Now we have $1 million in the bank, and Annika and I and Jesse and others vote about how to spend that money. And it's been, you know, a 15-year struggle to get there, but damn it, we did. Pretty cool. So that's all I have to say. I love my children. I love Jeanette. So I love Jack. Great to see everybody here tonight. And thank you so much. The work continues, and we're going to carry it on. And, you know, I know that each of us will be a part of that as we move forward. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, solidarity forever and good night.
Yeah, thank you.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Rand.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, everybody.
Good job, Larry.
Love you, Rand. Good night, Rand.
Love you, Rand. Thank you.
Take care, Brother Rand.
See you around.
Salute.
I made a slideshow, but I forgot to show it.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Wow.
Wow.
This is,
Oh, that's him. Look at him. Haven't changed much, Rand.
Ah, that looks like Caleb.
Throw that up on Facebook, Rand, so we can watch it again.
yeah,
Wow.
some fun times.
The mustache.
Oh, isn't that fun?
Goodness, man.
Ah.
That's Gene and Enid.
That's great.
My goodness.
Office is a mess always. There's the
Typical.
beard.
That's a special one.
That's Brendan. It's a 285 gang. After we got arrested, Marley and Farm Aid.
That's your daughter.
Oh, there we are, busted. All right. I think that's enough of that. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so
Great
much.
to work with you, Rand. Best wishes.
Mark, you and I go back to the High Tech Workers Network and Analogic, or
Yeah, I think it's before that, actually. I'm like, I think I met you in like 1978 or something ridiculous.
that's great. All right,
But
everybody.
yeah, that was the first time we worked together. High
Yes.
Tech Workers Network.
Yeah.
Bye, Rand.
Have a good
Thanks,
night.
everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night, Rand.
Thanks, Rand.
Congratulations.
Raza, you've got a big beard. Wow.
Yes, they do, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hey, Raza, how's the brewery?
Oh, we're killing it. Why do you ask?
I can't wait to go back. Hey, Rand, congratulations, man. Having already left 888 at one time, like many people on this call, it's a transition, man. All the best to what you do next. Trust me, and it was.
Hey, I feel free at last. Free at last.
Bro, I can't tell you how much I felt that when I left. I was like, I'm in for a new headache of my own making, and it feels great. Brenda, I also miss you to bits.
I miss you
I miss
too.
you so much.
Love you guys.
Your presence missing. I mean, Rand is great, but your presence out of my life has been almost too much.
Oh, love you.
Love you too. I love all y'all. And you know
Well,
something, Rand?
Yeah.
You did great work. You have everything to be proud of.
Oh, thank you, Dan. It really was fun. We did it together.
Yeah, we did
Rand-
a lot of great work together.
Rand, we need drinks at James's soon. We need to
Yes.
get everybody together over at the Democracy.
What are you guys doing on Sunday? Let's do it.
Give us a month. We're going to be open July 4th. I could not tell you how excited I would be. to
Oh
open
my
my
God,
doors.
July 4th?
Everybody. Yeah.
Well, that's the day. That's the day we go.
I'm sure no one has
maybe not
plans,
the
but if
4th,
you don't,
but-
you're welcome.
But
All right, all
James,
you-
let's have a gathering at Democracy Brewing soon, and the drinks
Absolutely.
will be on me.
I'll chip in. I'll chip in.
Yeah. You'll buy the first
chip in.
round and then you'll never buy a drink again.
Hey, Peyton, thanks for the shout out about the beer fest with John Murphy and when we threw the Miller beer in the harbor for 122. It's very, very important day. That was great.
I never heard that Caleb was involved in that. That's the first time I heard of it.
Yeah, we almost threw him in the harbor.
Oh.
Yeah, the kids definitely got abused, I could show you pictures of them in the Boston Globe on picket lines and, they were always a great photo op. And I could distinctly remember when I think it was Marley said, Dad, I don't want to go to any more picket lines. I'm done. No more picket lines. All right.
No, then
Everybody, I want to go. I'm going to go eat dinner. I've got to get something to drink. I need a beer.
Love you, Dad.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Rand, good to see you. Congrats and good luck on the next thing.
Thank you. Plenty more to do.